The Texas Freedom Colonies Project 2020 Year in Review. What is the Texas Freedom Colonies Project? The Texas Freedom Colonies Project is an evolving social justice initiative which celebrates, researches, and documents historic Black settlement landscapes, heritage, placemaking, and grassroots preservation practice. The descendants that we connect and partner with are actively fighting decades of structural racism that threaten their ability to retain land and bounce back following a natural disaster. Texas Freedom Colonies Project has identified 3 key threats to the Freedom Colony's survival. Those threats are visibility, accessibility, and vulnerability. The Texas Freedom Colonies Project has also outlined the Texas Freedom Colony Descendants Agenda. Some of these agenda initiatives include establishing a centralized location for information and communication among descendants and having a public policy and legislative agenda. The Texas Freedom Colony's pre-COVID-19 engagement. In February 2020, Dr. Roberts and students enrolled in the More Than Monuments course had the opportunity to visit Hopewell Freedom Colony in Cozy, Texas. In this class, students also created a Freedom Colonies guidebook. This guidebook provides information about recognizing a freedom colony, identifying feature types such as churches and cemeteries, and much more. Dr. Roberts and 2 of her students, Skylar Carter and Grace Kelly, attended the Preserving the Promise Gala event in Jasper, Texas. The evening was filled with diversity, inclusiveness, a silent auction, dinner, live entertainment with still cruising and dancing. Dr. Roberts was the gala's keynote speaker, and the Jasper County Historical Commission announced the approval of a state historical marker for the Texas Freedom Colony, who hosted the event. The Texas Freedom Colonies Project JUNETEENTH Outreach. The Texas Freedom Colonies Project participated in several presentations this summer in celebration of Juneteenth. This included a Texas Freedom Colonies Project Juneteenth Happy Hour. The Texas Freedom Colonies Project also participated in the Preserve the Culture Oral History Project Zoom tutorial, which was hosted by the Houston Museum of African American Culture, the African American Library at the Gregory School, and the Houston Library. The Texas Freedom Colonies Project also participated in the Schoenberg Center Juneteenth Question and Answers. The Schoenberg Center is the biggest and oldest archive records and is based in Harlem. The Texas Freedom Colonies also discussed the origins of Juneteenth and the home of Juneteenth, being Galveston, Texas, and East Texas community of Geneva, Texas. We also discussed some parallels between the current issues plaguing our communities, such as COVID-19, and the persistent struggle for justice and freedom in the face of anti-Blackness, and making space to remember George Floyd, a Houston, Texas native. Texas Freedom Colonies Project's presentations and promotions. Doctoral students Skylar Carter and Jennifer Blanks presented in the Necropolis Politics, Mourning, Reclamation, and Preservation in BIPOC Sacred Spaces Symposium, as well as creating a video for the Texas A&M College of Architecture Research Symposium. Dr. Roberts and doctoral student Skylar Carter also presented research on 2 separate panels, the Vernacular Architecture Forum and the Southeast Chapter of Society of Architecture Historians. Dr. Andrea Roberts presented in the Reclaiming Spaces and Places Symposium this year as well. This is the symposium's 4th year. During the presentation, speakers like Dr. Roberts, Matisse Haynes, and June Grant discussed what steps need to be taken for BIPOC communities to achieve liberation and equity. Dr. Andrea Roberts served as a diversity mentor at the virtual conference for the National Trust of Historic Preservation Pass Forward Conference in October 2020. Doctoral student and team member Jennifer Blanks was awarded the Online Diversity Scholarship and was able to attend the Pass Forward Conference. The Texas Freedom Colonies' new outreach and research solutions. This summer, the Texas Freedom Colonies launched its quickly growing Coffee Talk series. Coffee Talk allows us to invite professionals, experts, and stakeholders to engage in conversations about various topics that impact Freedom Colonies. So far, we've discussed the immediate impacts of COVID-19 on Black funeral homes in Texas Freedom Colonies, museum curation, and Black settlements, honoring our ancestors via the burial grounds, and the state of Black churches. The Texas Freedom Colonies Project also launched the highly anticipated Adopt a County campaign. Adopt a County allows Freedom Colony descendants and stakeholders to contribute to the mission of the Texas Freedom Colonies Project in a new way. We also launched the I Found Something contest. This collaborative photo contest requires descendants and stakeholders to send a photo with your phone number, name, the place of the picture, and the name of the person in the picture if it is known. We will post the picture on our county pages on Facebook and let others know what you found. The winner will receive a Texas Freedom Colony goodie bag. All of the pictures are to be emailed to freedomcoloniesproject@gmail.com. Texas Freedom Colonies current projects. The Texas Freedom Colonies Project received the African American Cultural Heritage Action Fund from the National Trust for Historic Preservation in 2019. We are partnering with Freedom Colonies to develop a mobile assessment tool to capture information about their cemeteries and develop a registry. The Texas Freedom Colonies Project contracted the Root Cause Research Center and Civic Data Alliance to fulfill the mission of the National Trust grant. Recently, the Texas Freedom Colonies Project connected with descendants from Tamina and Dixie Community Freedom Colonies. This meeting is an important step to pushing forward the Cemetery Research Project, which is funded by the National Trust for Historic Preservation. The Texas Freedom Colonies Project is broadening our impact by connecting with neighboring states such as Louisiana on future projects. The Texas Freedom Colonies Project collaborated with the Landowners Association of Texas to address issues of retaining air property and land loss in general in East Texas counties through workshops and needs assessments. Another major component of the collaboration with the Landowners Association of Texas is a series of legal webinars covering topics such as air property, church incorporation, and church preservation. These webinars are supported by the Texas A&M University Law School as well. The Texas Freedom Colony Project Next Steps and Current Tasks. Visitors can now use the Atlas to learn about future Department of Transportation projects occurring near Freedom Colonies. Adding current and future transportation projects to the Atlas allow Freedom Colony descendants and stakeholders to be proactive rather than reactive when a new highway project threatens their community. Dr. Andrea Roberts has published quite a bit of literature this year as well. These journals can be accessed via Google Scholar on Dr. Roberts' Scholar webpage and the Texas Freedom Colonies Project website. The Texas Freedom Colonies Project is proud to share a financial resource provided by the National Trust for Historic Preservation. Funding for the National Trust is awarded to nonprofit organizations and public agencies, and a majority of their funding is awarded for planning and education projects through their National Trust Preservation Funds grant program. You can scan this QR code to learn more information about the grants available, or you can contact the grants office at grants@savingplaces.org. The Texas Freedom Colonies Project is still accepting members to join Adopt a County. Use your cell phone to scan the QR code and access the Adopt a County sign-up sheet. Once you access the sign-up sheet, you will be able to complete the form and answer questions such as selecting your county, submitting your Google form, joining a Facebook group, understanding what information is needed, locating that information based on resources we provide you with, and then uploading that information. Please make sure you visit the Texas Freedom Colonies Project website to complete the Storyteller Survey. This survey allows you to share important information about your freedom colony, such as its origin story, history, population, family names, traditions, events, and feature types. Or you can use your cell phone camera to scan this QR code and access the survey. If you prefer a printout copy of the survey, that's no problem. Visit the Texas Freedom Colonies Project website or use your cell phone camera to scan the QR code to access the printable version of the survey. You can scan the completed survey to your computer and email it to freedomcoloniesproject@gmail.com, or you can mail it to the address found on the top of the survey form. The Freedom Colonies Project wants to learn how we can serve other organizations. If you enjoy the research we do at the Texas Freedom Colonies Project, please complete our intake form. This form allows you to learn about our activities, serve as a volunteer, or become a partner on future projects. Please request the intake form by sending us an email at freedomcoloniesproject@gmail.com. And lastly, an Ancestors Tribute. Mr. Eddie Harrison played a crucial role to the rehabilitation and historical designation of the Camptown Cemetery near Mount Rose Missionary Baptist Church. The burial site began as a slave cemetery, but later received Civil War veterans and Buffalo soldiers. He also conducted educational programs on Buffalo soldiers at numerous public venues around the Brazos Valley. Mr. McQueen would go on to visit 375 churches and travel over 90,000 miles to catalog their growth and development. His book, Black Churches in Texas, A Guide to Historical Congregations, was published by the Texas A&M University Press on April 20, 2000. This journey became a spiritual one for Mr. McQueen. Thank you so much for joining us. Please follow us on Facebook at the Texas Freedom Colonies Project, on Instagram at freedom_colonies_project, and subscribe to our YouTube channel at Freedom Colonies Project channel. On our YouTube channel, you can find our previous coffee talks, tutorials on how to navigate the Texas Freedom Colonies Project website and atlas, as well as our other speaking engagements. So make sure you check it out. Again, feel free to inquire about our intake survey at the following email address, freedomcoloniesproject@gmail.com, or you can reach out to us on our social media platforms.